everyone. Ready for a deep dive.
hmm
Today we're going to be taking a look at AI-powered coding with CodeCraft.
Yeah.
Big buzz since the launch earlier today, so let's cut through the hype and see what it's really all about.
Yeah. CodeCraft really is, well, it's trying to be something more than just another code generator. It really wants to be a true coding companion.
Okay.
So it's not just churning out lines of code. It's really about understanding what you as the developer want to do and suggesting improvements,
Right.
helping you to refactor existing code to be more efficient. It's really, you can think of it like a superpowered coding buddy.
Like always having someone to peer program with, essentially.
Exactly.
And so it's not just for beginners, though, right? Seasoned coders, they could get a lot out of this, too.
Absolutely. So let's say you're working on this complex project. You're trying to implement some kind of tricky algorithm. Instead of getting bogged down in the syntax, you could give CodeCraft a natural language prompt.
Okay.
Something like, create a function to sort this array using a quick sort algorithm. And it'll generate a solid starting point for you. Then you can fine-tune it to your exact specifications.
So it really is like having that junior developer on hand who can handle all the grunt work.
Yeah.
So you can focus on the more creative, strategic parts of the project.
Exactly.
I like it.
And let's not forget about the code explanation too. So let's say you're going through, some legacy code base and you come across this function that's like 100 lines long. You have no idea what's going on.
Yeah.
CodeCraft can break it down for you, explain the logic behind each step, even highlighting potential issues. It's almost like having instant documentation that's tailored to that specific piece of code you're looking at.
Yeah, that would save a ton of time and frustration, especially when you're dealing with code that maybe wasn't written by you or hasn't been touched in years.
Absolutely.
Now, it does sound like a real time saver, but I think it's time to kind of look at the other side of the coin here. Every tool has its limitations.
Of course.
What are some of the potential downsides, things we should be aware of?
So one concern that comes up a lot with any AI coding tool is this risk of over-reliance. If you're always relying on CodeCraft to do the heavy lifting, you might not develop your own coding skills as much.
Right.
It's like using a calculator for every math problem. You might get the right answer, but you're not really exercising your brain.
That's a good point. It's all about finding that balance, right?
Yeah.
You want to use it to boost your productivity, streamline your workflow, but not become completely dependent on it.
Exactly.
So maybe think of it as more of a collaborative relationship where you're both growing and learning together.
Exactly. And it's also important to remember that, CodeCraft, like any AI, is a product of the data it was trained on. So there is this possibility, it's not going to be perfect, right?
Sure.
There's a possibility of bias creeping in, either consciously or unconsciously.
So not a magic bullet,
Right?
but it's a powerful tool that can be used for good or for, well, maybe not evil, but definitely less than ideal outcomes.
Right. It's up to us, the developers, to use it responsibly and ethically.
Now, I know our listeners are a pretty savvy bunch. They're probably already thinking about how CodeCraft could fit into their own workflows and projects. Yeah. So why don't we dive into some specific use cases where this tool could really shine?
Sure.
Where could it be a real game changer?
Yeah. So one area I think it could be huge is rapid prototyping. You have an idea for this new web app, but you don't want to spend weeks or months building out this full-fledged prototype.
Right.
CodeCraft can help you get a basic version up and running much faster, generating the boilerplate code, handling the database setup, even creating a simple user interface.
That'll be huge for startups, entrepreneurs, people trying to get those ideas off the ground quickly.
Absolutely.
Test them out with real users. Instead of getting bogged down in the technical details, you can refine your core concept and iterate based on feedback.
Exactly. And even for established companies, it's a valuable tool for exploring new ideas, experimenting with different approaches without having to commit a ton of resources up front.
I like that a lot. So it's not just about writing code faster. It's making that whole development process more agile, responsive to change.
Exactly.
Now, I am really interested in this idea of personalized code suggestions. How does it actually learn my coding style?
So that's thanks to the magic of machine learning.
Okay.
As you use CodeCraft, it analyzes your code, what libraries you use, even the way you structure your functions.
Wow.
And over time, it builds a profile of your coding preferences, and then it starts tailoring its suggestions accordingly.
So it's like having a coding assistant who actually knows your quirks and can anticipate what you're going to do next.
Exactly.
That's pretty impressive.
It really is. It means that the code that it generates will feel more natural to you.
Right.
It'll be like something you could have written yourself.
You won't have to spend as much time tweaking and refactoring.
Exactly.
And I imagine this would be helpful for teams working on large projects where consistency is key, right?
Absolutely. It could help bridge that gap between different coding styles and make that collaboration much smoother.
If everyone's using CodeCraft, then the code base should be more cohesive and easier to maintain.
Exactly.
I'm really excited to see how developers start using this in the real world. I think we're just scratching the surface of its potential here.
Me too. I think it has a potential to really change the game for software development.
Well, I think we need to dive into some of the more specific features now.
Okay.
What do you say we take a closer look at the code generation capabilities?
Let's do it. We can explore how it handles different types of code,
All right.
from simple scripts to those complex algorithms.
And before we move on, I want to hear from you, our listeners.
Yeah.
Have you tried CodeCraft? What are your first impressions? Jump into the comments and let us know what you think.
Yeah, we're all on this journey together, exploring these exciting possibilities of AI-powered coding. So let's share our experiences, ask questions, and help each other navigate this new frontier.
All right, so let's dive a little bit deeper into CodeCraft's code generation.
Okay.
One of the things I think is really impressive is just how many different types of coding tasks it can handle.
Yeah.
From whipping up like quick little simple scripts all the way to those complex algorithms that make you want to pull your hair out.
I was going to say, yeah, like the stuff that really makes you think.
Yeah.
This isn't just about spitting out generic code blocks.
No.
This thing is designed to understand natural language.
Right.
So you can practically talk to it like you would another developer.
So
and now it's saying, hey, CodeCraft, create a function that validates email addresses using regular expressions.
Yep, and it does it.
And boom, delivers the goods.
Right. And what I think is really cool is it's not just like, throwing code at you and saying, there you go, so good luck.
Yeah. It's designed to explain what its reasoning is.
Okay.
It breaks down the complex logic into digestible chunks.
Right.
And it'll even point out potential pitfalls.
So it's like having that senior dev looking over your shoulder.
Exactly.
Offering their guidance every step of the way.
Yeah.
Which brings me to my next point. Code refactoring.
Right.
We all know how important it is to keep our code clean, efficient, maintainable.
Yeah.
But let's be honest, refactoring can be a real chore.
It's the worst.
It's tedious, time-consuming, especially when you're dealing with large code bases.
So that's where I think CodeCraft is really going to shine for a lot of people.
Okay.
Because it can analyze your existing code and actually identify those areas that could be improved.
Yeah.
And then it'll suggest some really concrete refactoring solutions.
Okay.
So think about those long, convoluted functions that make you cringe every time you have to look at them.
Oh, yeah.
CodeCraft can help you break those down into smaller,
nice,
more manageable chunks.
Over.
Make your code more readable.
Easier to maintain.
Easier to maintain.
It's like having an automated code cleanup crew.
Exactly.
That works tirelessly behind the scenes.
Yeah, I love that analogy.
So this is about more than just saving time.
Right.
It's about actually elevating the quality of our code.
Absolutely.
And that's a win for everybody, from individual developers to large development teams.
Yeah, I think so too.
Now let's talk about the elephant in the room. Integration.
Okay.
We as developers are creatures of habit.
We are.
We love our tools.
Yes.
We love our IDEs. We love our customized workflows.
All of that.
How does CodeCraft fit into this ecosystem?
So that was a big concern for a lot of developers, but I don't think you need to worry.
Okay.
Because CodeCraft was really designed to be a team player here.
Okay.
It integrates seamlessly with popular IDEs like VS Code, IntelliJ.
So need to jump through hoops.
No, you don't have to switch between different tools to use it.
Right.
It's right there in your development environment, ready to assist you whenever you need it.
That's music to my ears.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to disrupt their workflow just to use a new tool, no matter how cool it is.
Right.
Seamless integration is key.
Absolutely.
But let's be realistic.
Okay.
There are always trade-offs.
Sure.
What are some of the things that developers should keep in mind when using CodeCraft?
Okay.
What are the potential pitfalls?
One thing to remember is it's still relatively new.
Okay.
While it has been trained on this massive data set of code, it's still learning and evolving. So, there might be edge cases or, niche scenarios where it doesn't quite hit the mark.
Okay.
So it's important to use your judgment and not just blindly trust everything it suggests, especially when you're dealing with
Mission critical.
mission critical code. Yeah.
So not a silver bullet.
Right.
but a very powerful tool that can augment our capabilities as developers.
Exactly.
And we still need to be critical thinkers,
Yes.
problem solvers, and ultimately responsible developers.
Yeah, I completely agree.
We can't just abdicate our responsibility to an AI, no
No.
matter how smart it is.
And I think that's important to remember.
Now, I want to kind of shift gears a little bit and talk about the bigger picture here.
Okay.
How do you see CodeCraft impacting the software development industry as a whole?
That's a big question.
It is. What are some of the potential implications?
Yeah.
Not just for individual developers, but
For everybody.
yeah, for the industry at large.
Yeah, I think one of the things that has a lot of people really excited is this idea of democratizing software development.
Okay.
So by lowering the barrier to entry,
Right.
it could empower more people to build software regardless of their background or level of experience.
Background doesn't matter anymore.
Exactly.
If you have an idea,
Yeah.
you can bring it to life without needing years of coding experience.
Imagine that world.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's exciting.
That's a very exciting prospect.
Yeah.
And it could have a really significant impact on education because you could use this as a fantastic learning tool for students of all ages.
It can provide instant feedback,
Nice.
explain complex concepts in simple terms,
Yeah.
and even generate code examples tailored to specific learning objectives.
So it's like having a personal coding tutor?
Yeah, available 24/7.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and so I can see it being used in classrooms, online courses, even in self-directed learning environments.
It could revolutionize the way we teach and learn about coding.
Totally.
But I think it's important to address kind of the other side of that coin.
Yeah.
With any disruptive technology,
Yeah.
there are concerns about job displacement.
Sure.
What are your thoughts on that?
It's a valid concern. It's something that we definitely need to be mindful of.
Right.
However, I believe that CodeCraft will ultimately create more opportunities than it eliminates.
Okay.
Because, by automating those routine tasks and freeing up developers to focus on higher level thinking,
Right.
it's going to allow us to tackle more complex and challenging problems. So the demand for skilled developers will continue to grow.
Right.
But the nature of those skills will probably change a little bit.
Right. So it's not about replacing human developers.
No.
It's about augmenting their capabilities.
Exactly.
Allowing them to work smarter, not harder.
I love that.
Now let's talk about the community response.
Okay.
Because CodeCraft has been generating a lot of buzz online.
It has.
And there's a wide range of perspectives.
Yeah, for sure.
Some developers are really excited about the possibilities.
Yeah.
Others are a little bit more cautious or even skeptical.
Yeah. You're going to get that with any new technology.
Yeah. What are some of the key themes that you're seeing kind of in these online discussions?
Yeah, so I think one of the most common themes is just excitement about its potential to really boost productivity.
Okay.
Accelerate development cycles.
Yeah.
A lot of developers are eager to try it out and just see how it can help them streamline their workflow.
Right.
Get projects done faster.
Get things done.
And there's a lot of interest in the education side, too.
Okay.
A lot of educators and students are seeing it as a real game changer
I can definitely see that.
for how we teach and learn about coding.
But I'm sure they're also concerned,
Of course.
about the potential downsides,
Yeah.
like the over-reliance on AI
Yeah.
and the possibility of bias in the code that's generated.
Those are all important considerations, and it's good to see that the developer community is really engaging with those discussions thoughtfully and critically.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point.
Yeah, there's a healthy dose of skepticism there,
Absolutely.
which I think is crucial for any new technology.
Any new technology, especially one that has as much potential impact as this.
Exactly.
And I think it's important to remember that this isn't a one-size-fits-all solution.
Right.
It's a tool.
It's a tool.
And like any tool, it's more effective in certain situations than others.
Yeah. Developers need to evaluate its capabilities in the context of their own needs and workflows.
Right, so it's not going to be the right tool for every project or every developer.
Exactly.
All right, well said. Now, before we wrap up this segment,
Okay.
I want to address the elephant in the room. GitHub Copilot.
Everyone wants to know.
Everybody wants to know. Arguably the most well-known AI coding assistant out there.
It is.
And it's been making waves in the developer community for a while now.
It has.
How does CodeCraft compare?
Okay.
What are the key differences?
All right.
Similarities?
That's the question everybody's asking.
It is.
Both CodeCraft and Copilot are really powerful tools that can assist developers in writing, understanding, and refactoring code.
Right.
But there are some key differences.
Okay.
So Copilot is more focused on code completion and suggestion.
Right.
Leveraging its vast knowledge of open source code to predict what you're going to type next.
Just more like a supercharged autocomplete.
Yes, exactly.
Yep.
CodeCraft is taking a bit more of a holistic approach, I think.
Okay.
It aims to be a true coding companion. Okay.
That not only generates code, it also explains it,
Right.
refactors it, and helps you understand those complex code bases.
So it's more like a coding mentor or partner.
Yeah, I like that.
Rather than just that autocomplete feature.
Exactly. And another key difference, I think, is personalization.
Okay.
CodeCrafts really emphasizes tailoring its suggestions to your individual coding style and preferences.
So it learns from you.
It learns from you.
It learns from your code.
It learns from your habits.
From your choices.
Your choices. And then it provides a more personalized coding experience.
So if you're looking for a tool that really understands your coding DNA and works with you as a partner, CodeCraft might be a better fit.
Yeah, if you want something that is going to learn you and grow with you.
But if you're just looking for something to help write code faster and more efficiently, Copilot could be a great option.
Yeah, it really depends on what your needs are and your preferences.
At the end of the day, the best tool for you is the one that you're most comfortable with.
And the good news is they both offer free trials.
Yes.
So you can test them out.
Absolutely.
See which one works best for you without making any sort of commitment.
And you should do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
We encourage everybody to explore these tools and see how they can really enhance your coding workflows.
Yeah, for sure.
Now let's move on to, I think, one of the most exciting aspects of CodeCraft.
Okay.
Its potential impact on specific industries and use cases.
Right.
Where do you see this tool making the biggest waves?
I think one area where it's going to be huge is web development.
Okay.
Because it can really simplify the process of building web applications.
Okay.
Generating boilerplate code, handling those database interactions, even creating basic user interfaces.
And it can help with those startups and entrepreneurs.
Absolutely.
People that want to get their ideas off the ground quickly.
Yeah, without needing to hire a team of developers.
And it's not just about building new applications either.
No.
You can use it to modernize legacy web applications.
That's right.
Make them more responsive.
Make them better.
User-friendly.
More maintainable.
Could save companies a lot of time and money.
Yeah, compared to having to rewrite those applications from scratch.
Right, and it's not just limited to web development.
No, it can be used for data science and machine learning.
Data science.
Yeah, it can generate code for data pre-processing.
Well, okay.
Model training.
Okay.
Even visualization.
Wow, so this could really empower data scientists to focus more on the analysis and insights.
Yeah, let them focus on what they're good at.
Rather than getting bogged down in all that nitty-gritty code writing.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the biggest benefits of CodeCraft.
I agree. And what about mobile app development?
Yeah.
It's a huge market these days.
So CodeCraft can definitely play a role in mobile app development.
Okay.
It can generate code for both Android and iOS platforms.
Okay.
Handling those platform-specific nuances and best practices.
So again, it really simplifies the process.
Yes, especially for independent developers who want to create these cross-platform apps without needing to learn two separate code bases.
This is a very versatile tool.
Yeah, it is.
That can be applied to a wide range of software development tasks and industries.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see what people do with it.
Me too. It's exciting to think about all the possibilities.
Yeah.
But I think it's important to circle back to those ethical considerations.
Sure.
We do need to be mindful of the potential biases that could be embedded in AI-generated code.
We do, and I think we need to be aware of the data that CodeCraft is trained on.
Right.
And any potential biases that could be reflected in the output.
Right.
We have to remember to use it critically.
Yeah.
Be aware of the limitations of AI.
Well said. Now, before we wrap up this segment, I want to go back to the idea of personalization.
Okay.
You mentioned that CodeCraft learns from your coding style and preferences.
It does.
Can you elaborate on that a bit more? How does it actually work?
So it uses a combination of machine learning techniques to personalize the suggestions.
Okay.
So it analyzes your code.
Right.
It looks at what libraries you use, your naming conventions, even the way you structure your functions.
Wow.
And over time, it builds this profile of your coding style.
Okay.
And then it starts tailoring suggestions accordingly.
So it's not about suggesting generic code snippets.
No, it's about making it yours.
It's about providing suggestions that are aligned with your specific way of coding.
Exactly. The goal is to make that generated code feel like an extension of your own work,
I like that.
not something that's foreign or jarring.
Yeah, and I imagine it takes a little bit of time
It does.
for it to really learn your coding style, but
Yeah.
the more you use it,
The better it gets.
the more personalized it becomes.
It's a continuous learning process.
The more you use it, the better it gets at understanding your preferences and providing those tailored suggestions.
Exactly.
Well, I am very intrigued.
Yeah.
I can't wait to try it out myself.
Me too.
See how it adapts to my own coding quirks?
I think you're going to like it.
And I'm sure our listeners are feeling the same way.
Yeah, I think CodeCraft has the potential to really change the way we think about software development.
Yeah, it really is a paradigm shift.
Yeah, it's an exciting time to be a developer.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
Now let's move on to the final segment of our deep dive,
Okay.
where we're going to explore some practical tips for getting started,
Great.
talk about resources for learning more,
All right.
and we'll answer some questions from our listeners.
Let's do it.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground.
Mhm.
We've explored CodeCraft's features, its potential impact. We even compared it to other AI coding assistants out there.
Yeah, like GitHub Copilot.
But now it's time to get practical.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to developers who are eager to try out CodeCraft?
Yeah.
How do they integrate it into their workflow?
Yeah. I think the first step is to just dive in,
Okay.
start experimenting. CodeCraft offers a free trial,
Yeah.
so you can test drive all the features without any commitment.
Right.
So download it, install it in your IDE, and just start playing around.
Okay.
Try generating code from natural language prompts,
Yeah.
experiment with the code explanation, the refactoring,
Right.
see how it adapts to your style.
See how it feels.
Yeah,
Hands-on experience is always the best teacher.
it really is.
But where can developers go to find more information? Tutorials,
Yeah.
resources to help them get the most out of CodeCraft.
So Synapse Software Solutions, the company behind CodeCraft, they have a really great website.
Okay.
You can find documentation, tutorials.
Awesome.
I even have a community forum where developers can connect,
Yeah.
share their experiences, ask questions, all of that good stuff.
That's fantastic.
And there's also a ton of stuff online, blog posts, articles, videos from developers who are already using it and sharing their insights.
That's really great to see.
Yeah.
It's awesome that there's already such a vibrant community forming around CodeCraft.
Yeah, and it's growing really fast.
It's always helpful to have a network of peers to learn from and bounce ideas off of.
Absolutely.
Now, I know we have some eager listeners out there
I'm sure we do.
who are probably just bursting with questions.
Yeah.
So let's take a few minutes to address some of the most common queries we've been seeing,
Okay.
both online and in our inbox.
Yeah, fire away.
All right, so this one comes up a lot.
Okay.
Is CodeCraft going to replace human developers?
The big question.
It's the million-dollar question.
It is.
It's understandable that people are concerned,
Yeah.
but as we've been talking about throughout this whole episode, CodeCraft is a tool,
Right.
not a replacement.
It's not going to take our jobs.
Right. It's designed to augment our capabilities,
Yeah.
make us better at what we do,
Make us more efficient.
not to make us obsolete.
Exactly.
Think of it as a very powerful assistant,
Yeah.
like a calculator for a mathematician or a spell checker for a writer.
Yeah. I love that analogy.
It can handle those tedious and repetitive tasks.
Yes.
Freeing us up to focus on those more creative and strategic aspects of software development.
It lets us be more human.
Exactly.
Lets us focus on the things that humans are good at.
So it's not about replacing jobs. It's about changing the nature of those jobs.
Yeah.
Evolving the role of the developer.
And I think that's really important to remember.
Absolutely. Here's another one.
Okay.
How secure is CodeCraft?
Okay.
Can I trust it with my code?
Sure.
Valid concern, especially when you're talking about proprietary code or sensitive data.
Right. You don't want your stuff getting out there.
Right, exactly.
So security is a top priority for Synapse Software Solutions.
Okay,
They've designed CodeCraft with robust security measures
good.
to protect your code and data.
All right,
It operates locally on your machine, so it's not like sending anything up to the cloud.
right.
And your code is never shared with any third parties.
Okay.
And they adhere to really strict data privacy policies and comply with industry standards.
Awesome. So it sounds like security is taken very seriously,
It is.
which is good to hear.
Yes.
All right, here's another one that comes up quite often. How does CodeCraft handle different programming languages?
Right.
Is it only good for certain languages?
So it's designed to be really versatile and adaptable.
Okay.
It supports a wide range of popular programming languages,
Okay.
including Python, JavaScript, Java, C++, C, C Sharp.
Nice. So it covers the big ones.
Yeah, it covers pretty much all of the major ones.
And more.
And they're constantly working to expand that language support.
Great.
So, you can expect to see even more in the future.
That's great news for developers who maybe work across multiple languages or are looking to kind of expand their skill set.
It is.
All right, one last question before we wrap up.
Hit me.
What are some practical tips for getting started with CodeCraft?
Okay.
We've talked about the importance of experimentation, but are there any specific things that developers can do to really hit the ground running?
Yeah. I would say first start with a small project or a specific task that you're already familiar with, something bite-sized, just to get a feel for how CodeCraft works.
I mean, get your feet wet.
Exactly. And second, don't be afraid to experiment with different prompts and commands.
Yeah.
The more you explore, the more you'll discover about its capabilities.
Okay.
And finally, take advantage of those resources that we talked about that are available on the Synapse website, the documentation, tutorials, the community forum.
It's a great place to start.
There's a ton of information there.
Yeah, and it's all about taking that first step.
Yeah, just dive in.
Diving in and embracing that learning process.
Exactly.
Now, before we sign off, I want to leave our listeners with one final thought.
Okay.
CodeCraft represents a pretty significant step forward, I think, in the evolution of software development.
It is.
It's a really powerful tool. It has the potential to really transform the way we code.
I think so.
The way we learn and the way we create.
Yeah, it's really exciting.
But as with any new technology, it's important to approach it with a critical eye.
Yes.
To be mindful of its limitations.
Absolutely.
And to use it responsibly.
I couldn't agree more.
Well said. The future of software development is bright.
It is.
And tools like CodeCraft are paving the way for even more innovation and creativity.
They are.
I encourage everybody to embrace the possibilities.
Yes.
Explore the potential.
Do it.
And join the conversation about the future of coding.
Yes.
That is a fantastic note to end on.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into CodeCraft.
My pleasure.
We hope you found it informative and inspiring.
And we hope you have fun with it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Keep coding, keep experimenting, and keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible. Until next time.
See you later.